stock price into Excel. So first and foremost, you convert your text into stock data type, and then you can reveal any sort of related information. Simply select the names of the companies that you would like to view, then go to data, and in data you have data types, and in data types you'll find stocks. Click on the stocks, and Excel will convert your stocks into real stocks data. Now this is a stocks data type. You can also see that Excel could not read this company name, Volvo, and data selector has offered you some options. Which one is it? Which stock exchange you would like to fetch in? So let's say I select NASDAQ, and yes, this is what I want, and I select it. There we go. Now we have data type converted. Any sort of information related to these companies you can view from this. So for example, I select all of them, and on the top you see this data selector. Click on it and you will find multiple fields. So for example, if I want to see that what is, for example, the stock price of this company, there we go. We have all of them here along with the currency symbol. Now I want to see, for example, what is number of employees for these companies, for example, here. I can click and I can see how many employees this company has. Click, there you go. And multiple other options. For example, if you want to see where are the headquarters for this company, there we go, full address, you can see that here. I will Control Z to remove it from here. And for example, if I want to see for this company some information, I will simply select this and I will select, for example, which industry is this. Here we go. In a case, if I want to see all of them, I simply select them and go to the data selector, and I see what kind of information I would like to see here. So there are multiple information, for example, ticker symbol. You can see the ticker symbol as well. So this is more or less how you can fetch multiple informations about your companies over there, and you can monitor this live. Just a little bit more technical information. This information is fetched as is, so it is not for professional advice or trading purposes. This is for your information, so you can use it yourself and analyze it, but Excel is bringing this data as is, so there is no kind of analysis done already on this, so you take it as it is, information coming into the system. I hope this was useful, guys. Do comment if you have any suggestions you would like to view in the channel or anything else. I look forward for that. I welcome that. Selection and deselection. Sometimes when you are selecting multiple cells or ranges in Excel, you accidentally select one or more that you didn't intend. You can deselect any cells within the selected range with the Deselect tool now. So pressing the Control key is the actual key here. So I will demonstrate quickly how you can do that. For example, in this case, I've selected this table, but I didn't want to copy paste all of these contents. So I will hold the Control key. When I hold the Control key now, if I go into the corner, I can deselect by double clicking on these items. You see, it is deselecting. Okay, so let's assume that I wanted to send out this data that you see on your screen. I will press Control C, and on another place, if I press Control V, you can see only selected items have been pasted. So Deselect tool. I will revise the practice so that you can understand. I press Escape, I select the whole table. Then I realize that, oops, I was not supposed to send out all the data. So I hold the Control key, double click on some of the rows that I believe are not supposed to be in this paste. Control C, and on another location, Control V, and I pasted only relevant data. For Mac users, you can use CMD key. And this feature is pretty much similar to watch window feature in Excel. If you have not already used that feature, I'm posting a link in the comments and you can have a look at that as well. The video tutorial that I recorded for watch window, you can have a look at that and understand what is this. But uh, in simple words, camera tool is a tool that helps you to snapshot a cell and then use it wherever you want. Snapshot means really a snapshot. So first of all, I would introduce you to the tool, how to bring it into your spreadsheet, and then we will see practically how the snapshots work. It's really interesting, fellows, so just stay with me during the course of this video. You have quick access toolbar on top of your screens. If you don't have it, I'm posting a link for quick access toolbar tutorial as well, that how you can enable, disable, and customize this toolbar as well. Just click on it and you will find a feature here, more commands. Click on the more commands and you will get quick access toolbar commands to choose from, all of them. So I will select here, for example, all commands. When I select all commands will be visible. And this, I have to search now camera, and you see this is the camera tool here. Simply click on add. It will bring it as part of your quick access toolbar, which means you can access it anytime you like. You have it on top of your screen now, so fellows, so it's very easy to use. Now, camera means that I can snapshot any cell at any given location that I want to. So for example, I take this snapshot, click on it, and click on camera button. Now you can see the plus sign. My cursor has turned into a plus sign, which means I can paste it anywhere. So I click here and I paste this cell here. I will make it a little big, and you can drag it and make it big or small if you want. It's not a problem. It's just a snapshot of the cell that we have here. Now this cell value is dependent on the two other cells. So if I change this value somehow, you will see the impact shown here as well. So for example, if I change this to this, and you can see the numbers have changed. So it's not that you can screenshot or capture only one cell. You can capture multiple cells as well. For example, I'll try this one now. I will click on the camera tool. I will paste it here, and there we go. Both of them can be put in parallel. Now it's up to your creativity how you can build these kind of sets for your convenience and for the display and creative kind of a display of your screens at multiple places. So I will leave it up to you, but it's not that you can use it only on the same screen, but you can also fetch them from the other end as well. For example, in this screen, I have at the very end a couple of numbers. These are the numbers like total of 2019. So if I want to snapshot that, I can do that also. So I will simply snapshot it. I will select it. I will use the camera tool and I will bring it here at the bottom. And you can see the total number of 2019. Now I can see it here. Not only that, I can see monthly, but this is at the very end of the screen and I brought it here. Now this is because a sum of the values that are here. So if I change one of these values, the sum on and the total of the sale for 2019 will change at the end, which will be reflected here. So I will change a number here, for example, this one. And now keep an eye on the totals, and you can see here the numbers have changed because at the end the totals have changed. Now, it's not only like this, but you can also bring in or take out the numbers from one screen to another. So for example, I have cost and sales, which has been clubbed into other kind of tabs, and I want to see the total impact. So you can see it has been summed from the sale, and this has been summed from the cost. So what I want to see is if I change anything in the sales, it will impact here, but how will I get to know? So I will take a snapshot of this. So I will select, for example, the sale and the cost and the GP total, take a snapshot, and let's say I post it here. So now I have the snapshot of January sale, and I want to change it, for example, from here, and you can see the impact once I make any change onto the total, which will be on the other side as well, and you can see the numbers have changed. So this is another way of fetching your display or mirror it to another spreadsheet or another corner. DCOUNT function combines the text into multiple ranges or strings and includes a delimiter. You can specify each text value that will combine. So if delimiter is an empty string field, the function will effectively concatenate the ranges. So now the difference in this is between the concatenate and this function or and function and this is that in this function you can define the delimiter and then it will automatically use it everywhere. So I will give you a quick demo how you can do that. For example, we have text in these 3 cells. I would like to combine this all into one with a delimiter of a space to start with, and then we can choose anything else as well. So it's equal to text join. This is the function mm, syntax. And then you choose the delimiter. As you can see on the screen, it is demonstrating delimiter. So I will put it into a space and there you go. Now I would like to combine and it's true, which means that it will ignore the empty cells. I will call it true. Then I will select the text 1, then text 2, and then text 3. Close the parenthesis and there you see it has given a space in between. I would like to, let's say, put something else, for example some sign here. Let's choose a dollar sign between these 3 and enter. So you can see it has automatically inserted wherever there is a new cell or data from new cell is coming in, it has included that delimiter there. I can change the delimiter with additional 2 spaces in between, and you can see spaces are included after each and every cell there. So it's pretty handy, fellas. It's a little, I will say, plus to a concatenate feature. You can use it for combining multiple ranges or multiple strings or multiple texts as much as you fancy, and enjoy this. While working with Excel spreadsheets, we often need someone to have a quick check or a quick review before we send it over to a certain group of people or to our management. Why do we want someone to have a look at it? Because we use our selection of colors, our formatting, our own way of setting up the file, which is sometimes important to be reviewed before it goes to people who are really going to use that data to make it efficient, to understand, to make them really use this data in a way that you want them to use it. While you don't have anyone around to have a look at, that's not a problem. Excel can do that for you. So Microsoft Excel can have a quick look on your formatting and your selection of different sort of makeup of the file before you send it over. And it certainly does help. I will demonstrate a few examples and you will see that. For this, I'm using accessibility option. This is generally something that is used to make a file more inclusive in terms of accessible to the people with disability. But let me tell you something, it's very handy if we use it on our file and have a quick look before we send it over to anyone who is supposed to use, review, or manipulate this data for future use. So if you go to Review tab, in Review tab, you have this accessibility option. Click on it, and on the right side of your spreadsheet, Accessibility Checker will appear. Now, Accessibility Checker goes down into the file and looks at what kind of formatting changes you may need to make this file more understandable and efficient in terms of usage. So in this particular file, I deliberately made some mistakes, formatting related or naming convention related mistakes, which now I would like Excel to identify for your understanding, and then we will fix them because Excel will also guide us how to fix them. And trust me, it is a very efficient way, an easy way to explain how it can efficiently help you to fix it. So for example, now when I have this, you can see here in the bottom, Accessibility investigate means you need to check what kind of changes you may need to make here. So there are two major warnings here. And when we talk about warning, it means that the content that is most, but not all, uh, in most of the cases makes the document difficult to understand for people with disabilities. Now, this is something you may be very careful. So if it brings warnings, it's better to check what kind of errors there are, and then we can fix them. So the first one is default sheet name. So if we go down, it says sheet 2, sheet 4, sheet 1. These are default names. You better change them. And this is logical, guys. This is common sense that if there is sheet 1, who knows what's this sheet 1? What is this data? So for example, this is the document um, data related with, let's say, sales. So I need to change it. But how do I know how to fix it? So if I click on it, you will see additional information why to fix it. You see, default sheet names like sheet 1 makes navigation through the workbook difficult. That is clear, not only for the people with disabilities, but generally as well. Have a look at it. This is a problem and we need to fix it. Now, Excel is giving you a very simple way to fix it as well. Steps to fix it, how to rename it, right click on it and all that. It's very, very basic. So if you come down here, you can even directly go to the action, click on it, and it is enabling you just to change the name. So let's say sales. There we go. It's fixed. Now it is out of the list. Second one, I want to change this one as well. Rename. Title, let's say. Fixed. Last one. Another one. So let's say GP. It's finished. So the first part of warning has been sorted out. Now the next one. Hard to read text contrast. So we often contrast. You can see on the screen as well, this power table. It's a contrast of data. So if there is a contrast which is difficult to read, that can also be a problem. And we have a lot of problems here if we see there. That is certainly a problem. I will make a little change. For example, I will change this data type to this one. There we go. Now I've changed it and we'll see if it has any impact anywhere um, for us. But before that, we will go and check what is this sales. The contrast is not good. There are solutions down there. We can see how to fix this. We'll go through that, click on it, and it's asking me check a quick style. So let's say if I select a very basic style, it's gone. I don't see it here. Similarly, this is also a contrast that is not really working fine. And why it's not working fine, I will demonstrate. You see here now, this is also sorted out. GP pivot table, we need to change the style as well, make it more sensible for understanding. Here we go. You see this contrast is also like people, for example, if there are colorblind people, they cannot see red, and this contrast is anyways very shocking for normal eye as well. So I will just simply click on it. It's changed. Here another contrast, you see. We can't even see the text in this case, you see, from A to C. So we need to give it a color. Oh, now we can see that. And the next one, you see, we don't even see the text here. So it's a bad contrast. Click on it, back. We can see that. And the last one, contrast really is not working fine. Change it and fill. Let's say it's recommendation is there. So I select the fill and it's fine. Now you can see down there, good to go. So our data is good to go now. We can easily move forward with our spreadsheet, which is now, if you see the file that I shared with you in the start and the file you see on the screen now, Excel has mentored you out of this situation, and you have sales here very clearly, title here, GP, and very nice kind of a professional titles of the columns that are easily readable and understandable. So you can use Excel as a mentor. This is a facility to help us making our file more understandable to people with disabilities. At the same time, I think we can use this opportunity as an Excel for being a mentor for us, helping us with basic guidelines of how to work with Excel. This kind of utility is very handy for the people who just started learning and working in Excel. Yet it is also very good for professionals because you never know. You have huge spreadsheets and you can't go and check each one of the columns there. Maybe you imported some columns from some other colleagues. So it's better to have a check. I will always be careful while sending out my spreadsheets, considering the fact the data is important, information is important, and it is not just sharing the spreadsheets, but getting it processed in most efficient way. Ideas in Excel empowers you to understand your data through high-level visual summaries, trends, and patterns. All you have to do is to select your data that you would like to see multiple ideas for. Go to Home tab. When you click on the Home tab, you'll see on the right side Ideas. Click on it. The moment you will click on Ideas, Excel will open up another window. And that window will contain a lot of information, a lot of ideas, a lot of summaries, trends, and patterns, pivot tables, charts to show you multiple angles of the data that you have, how you can analyze it, how you can review that. So you can see we have 36 results down there. It depends on the data complexity. It may be less or more as well. So for example, I selected one of these charts and I like it and I would like to insert it here. I will simply have to go down here, you can see, and click on Insert Pivot Table. There you go. It has separately created a new tab, Idea 1, and I've got a pivot table along with this chart for me. Now, if in a case I would like to add another one, I will click on the chart and there you go. So you can see that I've got the chart in the same tab where I have the data. And the other one is also intact here. And the list goes on. I can pull in anything I would like to. So this is a handy option, fellows, ideas, especially for people who are super stressed with data and information flowing around. Excel helps you to visualize from multiple angles what kind of information you can have and how can you analyze that. One recommendation I would like to make here is that number one, if you don't see it in your computer, this means you're not using Office 365. So this is available for Office 365 subscribers. The second idea I would like to share here, or rather recommendation, is that you must have this as a table created. So it should be a table, tabular data. It will help you to make better analysis of your data. So fellows, I will recommend you to try it on your computers and share your feedback in the comments down there. Very easy to include bullets in your Microsoft Word files or PowerPoint files, but when it comes to Excel, not that simple. I will give you a very quick tip how to include bullets to list items in your table. So simply, I make a list of, let's say, 20 items here, and I want to give a bullet on the corner. Just simply press Control 1. The moment you press Control 1, Excel takes you to the formatting menu. There you see a lot of options, and custom is the one you have to click. And then the type part you have to edit. I will simply remove whatever it is here and paste this. Now, whatever I pasted here, you will also find in the description of this video, so you can copy paste it simply. The moment you paste this type here, you can see there is a data type change. I will press OK, and I will be able to see bullets here. Now, if I change anything here, for example, if I give any text, even that will be formatted into a bullet. So this data type is bullet for this particular group of cells, and now you can use it as your column for bulleting. Microsoft has been ramping up a lot of enabled engines to support us with getting latest data into multiple applications, including Microsoft Excel. Let me introduce you to one of the newest features we have in Excel, and let me also tell you that you have to stop wasting your precious time using Google searches on readily available data and let Excel to pull that information in for us. So right now, this functionality is available, let's say, for a few options, and one of them is geographic data. So I'll pull on some countries which we would like to fetch here information. So I'll put Germany, I will put Hungary, I'll pull in here Egypt, India, and a few more examples, maybe Kenya, and I can pull in. I'm just wondering what else. China, let's say, and one more, let's say, as a random example. I'm just trying to explore multiple options to cover different areas. So I will pull in here, let's say, Pakistan. Now we have the list of the countries. We need to convert it into a searchable data connected in the engine. So for that, we have to go to data in your ribbon. You can see it here. Click on the data, and there we have multiple options, and one of them is data types. So we will convert this data type to geographic. Data types, geographic. I'm repeating data, data types, geographic. And the moment you will click on it, it will convert your data into geographic data type. You can see on the corners it's a map. So now we have a search engine connected with web, which will fetch up multiple information for us, and this is the button that you will use to gain the data that you would like to. So what kind of data we can fetch for these names of the countries? We can take abbreviation, areas, birth rate, calling code. Let's start with the calling code, and then we will fetch the capital of those countries. These are the calling codes I'm sure you're aware of. And then if I fetch the capital, you can see the capital cities of these countries pulled in here. We have currency codes as well, so the currencies being used in these countries, you can see here. We can also use more information like what is the GDP rate. You can see the GDP rate for these countries as well. And more than that, you have information of the largest city, which might be different leaders of those countries. You can see the names, but I'll undo that. I'll undo this as well so that we have some space for some more options. I will fill in, let's say, minimum wage in these countries. For some countries, we couldn't get it from the internet. We have official name of the countries as well. You can see it's a little longer than the original name you have seen here. So this is the official names of the countries. I will undo it again so that we more have some space to see. Population, you can see the population of each of these countries here. Then we go down, down, down. Time zones. You can see the time zones of these countries, which time zones these are using. For example, CET, CEST, EET, Indian Standard Time, Eastern African Time, Chinese Standard Time, Pakistan Standard Time. I'll go further down, and I can see more information like urban population, unemployment rate, etc., etc. So options are a lot, and I think if you're in the middle of a meeting and you would like to fetch some information, this is a very, very good option. You can convert these and you can select the country. For example, I select Hungary and I move on and I pull down subdivisions. It shows me all the subdivisions of Hungary. You can see Szeged, Eger, Pécs, Debrecen, etc., etc. And the point is, if you select all of them and you select one thing, you can see one of them. For example, here I selected the language of those countries, and you can see all of the country languages. If I want to see, for example, one specific thing for a country, for example, I select India and I go to the life expectancy. You can see here it's showing up. So opportunities are a lot to fetch data and information. I will let you to explore it. It's very handy, especially if you're in the middle of a meeting and you would like to see specific information about that country. That this is really handy, quick, and really useful. So I will leave it to you to use it further into your work life, your data and rows. And we often pull in row numbers as serial numbers or sequence numbers. I'm going to demonstrate how you can automate them. What do I mean by automate? Well, let me share with you an example. So let's say, for example, I started creating one sequence and I added 15 rows to that and 15 different types of data I put in here. Now, in a case, if I want here to remove some of the rows, for example, from 5 till 10, and after removing, you will see the sequence has removed. Whoa. Now, I wanted to keep this row the same, automatically updatable, but it's not possible here. Let me show you how you can do that and automate it. There's a function for that in Excel. It's called is equal to row, parenthesis start and parenthesis closed. Enter, it will give you the address of the current row. Drag it down and you will get the address of each row here. You can use this as a sequence. And this is more or less, again, the same 15 rows. I will add, let's say, as a test, some data just to demonstrate this as a table. Highlight this for you. Now, let's remove from 5 to 10 again. And if I remove it here, you will see the sequence remains the same. So if you add this function is equal to row, it will carry your numbers as per the sequence. You can also add is equal to row and cell address. For example, this is A10. Still, it will give you the same reference of the cell. So be creative, guys. Use it in your tables and enjoy. Smart Lookup is a feature which helps you to get more insight into what you are working on by using this feature. Just follow a few simple steps that I will introduce you to now, and you can have any information about the Excel spreadsheet you're working on. For example, the one presented on your screen. Let's say, for instance, I'm working on this Excel spreadsheet, and while working, I want to understand some of the things about the data in. For example, I see Netflix, but I don't know what it is. And if I want to know that, I must use Smart Lookup, which connects me directly with internet, and Excel gives you insights of that data. So let's say, for example, if I want to understand Netflix, what it is, I will simply right click here and I will be introduced to this Smart Lookup feature here. Click on it and you will be able to see all the information from bing.com over here. You can see all the relevant information that is available on search, and you can see even more by clicking here. I close here. If I want to understand what is this currency, let's say, I will simply click on the Smart Lookup and it will give me all the exchange rates, information about what this sign, currency code, officially where it is applicable, etc., etc., all the information. Let's say another information I need to understand about this country that I see. I'll simply right click on it and I'll go to Smart Lookup and I will see all the detailed information about the country in my Excel spreadsheet. As much as if I want to see, for example, here, I have a technical issue where the travel is required from Budapest to Vienna. I will simply right click on it and I will Smart Lookup and it will give me the options for the trains from Budapest to Vienna. There is another way to do that, and that is you must go to Review tab. When you click on Review tab, there is Insights, and Insights we have Smart Lookup. So let's try it on travel from Nairobi to Cairo. I will click on it and it shows me all the flight options or the cheapest flight options for travel from Nairobi to Cairo. So fellas, using this, you can obtain any sort of information you would like to have in your spreadsheets. For example, I have a date and I want to see what happened on this date. I simply click on the Smart Lookup and it will even give me the history of that day. What was that day? What exactly happened? Some events from global perspective. You can see much more than that. So explore it yourself, fellows. I'm sure you will find a lot of interesting information on this feature, and it will help you to understand your data more deeply. All of you are aware of some function in Excel. Very simple, very easy, and very handy. We use it almost every day when we use Excel. Excel conditional sum is a sum which is based on a condition. So for example, we ask Excel to sum on the basis of certain criteria. So if certain criteria are meeting, then there should be a sum. For example, the data you see on the screen in this table, in column C, we have all the analysis, and I would like to sum all the values in this field based on the results here. So for example, if we have completed the analysis for the employees, there should be a sum. So let me demonstrate into a simple function. The function we will use here is sum if. So sum if is the text that you will write, and then you will give a range. So the range will be for the criteria, where the criteria is hidden. For example, in this case is column C. So we provided a range to Excel that in column C, go and check what completed. So we have asked Excel in this particular text that go to column C and check all the cells where we have data completed for the employees, and then sum column D. So whatever is present against this completed in column D, it should be summed. So practically, Excel will sum all the values where we have employee data analysis completed. I will close this, and there you go. So this is the sum of all the completed values. So for example, if let me change here, and let me put here a different criteria, started. I put started here. So this means I will change the criteria here from completed to started. And now when I press enter, it should show me the value of only 9,621 because we have only one cell in front of started. If I press enter, you can see the value is the same. So that's how, fellows, it is evaluating. I will give another copy paste to another cell in started. So the status of started will be for 2 cells, and then Excel will sum these 2 cells. So there you go. You see now we have the sum of these 2 cells appearing in our result. I'm sure you recall that if statement thing that we used to evaluate a certain situation in a cell and then get outcomes. This was the logical statement, and for a few of us, it was pretty much difficult to comprehend and then apply it in our Excels. For example, the logical statement is that if I eat apple, then the result, if it is true, means if I eat apple, the result is true and I get healthy. And if the result is false, which means I don't eat apple, then I get sick. And then there was a further complicated situation, nested if statement, meaning that all the if statements were clubbed into one if statement. So it was a kind of a further complicated status. But I'm not here today to demonstrate this kind of complicated situations for you. Rather, I'm going to introduce you to switch feature. That is relatively easier, and you will see how easy it is. So if in a case we have a situation, we have different numbers, for example, 10, 20, 30, and we would like to reflect the results and switch the number into a situation. I will do it here. For example, switch, this is the syntax function. I will give the cell reference, and then I will say if, this is the switch the value of, if it is 10, then replace it with good. If it is 20, then replace it with better. And if it is 30, then replace it with best. And if none of these statements are true, then we can say still checking. There we go. That's more or less it. I will close the statement here, and I've got the results. I will plug in here 40 as well, because 40 is not in the list that we demonstrated here. So we need to see if it shows still checking or not. I will drag it down and you can see good, better, best, and still checking based on the data we provided here. So it's a very simplified if statement. I'll call it that if it is 10, show good. If it is 20, show better. If it is 30, show best. And if there is nothing else amongst these, then it should be still checking. So for example, if I change this with 50, the result will remain the same. And if I change this with 100, the result will be still checking. Today, I will demonstrate DCOUNT function. The Excel DCOUNT function counts matching records in a database using criteria and an optional field. When a field is provided, DCOUNT function will only count numeric values in the field. So if you want to use the text, then you can use DCOUNT A, but let's talk about this. And the purpose of this function is to count matching records in a database, as I said. So we have a database here where we have put these two rows as a criteria, whereby this is our database where we need to figure out, let's say in this case, the criteria is that find all the Mondays where we have greater than 50 donations. So this is one Monday where we have a donation which is certainly greater than 50. Then the next Monday, we don't have that donation greater than 50. So in this case, the result of this must be counted as 1. So let's see and apply this function and see if it works or not. DCOUNT is the syntax, and then we will select the table. And the table in this case is this table. So we have given a database in this case, which actually should be covering everything. So from here till here, or rather I will cover the whole database. So we have selected the database, then we'll give criteria field. So which field should we count? So the field here we would like to count is total. So the total will be the text, and then we need to give a criteria. And the criteria in this case is these two, but we must give the headlines as well. Now in this case, we have the criteria being met. We will close the parentheses and press enter. So it has counted 1 in the total, which is this the case. If we want to change the numbers, let's say in this case we had 56. So the count automatically will change here. You can see this has changed to 2. So using this criteria that there should be a Monday and it should be greater than 50, we must count the total fields, which were in this case 2 of them. There we go. That is the DCOUNT function follows that we use to count matching records in a database using the criteria. Hyperlinks. We use hyperlinks to have quick access to related information to another file or in another web page. But sometimes when you post a hyperlink onto your spreadsheet, it looks very shabby and you want it to be very precise and beautiful. I will give you an example on your page that you see on your screen, Yahoo BBC World News page. Now, this link is quite a long link on your screen and you would like to make it precise, just like, let's say, BBC World or something like that. So for that, you have to right click onto the hyperlink, edit the hyperlink and add display text BBC World. Now, your link will remain the same as you see here, but your text will appear like this. This will make it more beautiful. So click on OK. You have the same link. You can see onto the page, but with a precise and beautiful shape. So you can easily put more links on your web page or on your Excel spreadsheet, and also make it more presentable and to look beautiful, and also make sense that that link actually does not give you a direction or idea. To make it even more kind of relevant, you can right click on it and go to edit hyperlink, and there is something called screen tip. click on that and you put any text that you believe can be helpful for your audience, people who will view this spreadsheet. For example, this link is for BBC World News page on Yahoo. So, okay and okay. So whenever you will hover on to this, you can see this link is for BBC World News page on Yahoo. You can speak with your audience like this. So this was a quick tip around how you can make your hyperlinks more beautiful. I will uh, bring more tips around hyperlinks as well in my upcoming videos. We can. Today in our session, we will look into the possibilities to add tracking into Microsoft Excel and will practically use it as well. So the first and foremost thing you have to do is you have to right click on the ribbon on top of your Excel spreadsheet. When you right click on the ribbon, you find a lot of options and one of them is customize the ribbon. Click on this and the moment you click on it, Excel options will appear. In this Excel options menu, you will find a lot of tabs, and these are actually a replica of the tabs you have here. A lot of new tabs you can see here, and also different groups that are within these tabs. So this part you see is a group into the tab home. So we will add a new group into review part so that it's easy to access our track changes. Why I selected review part? Because it already contains proofing, comments, notes, etc. So it makes more sense to include it here. I will click onto a new group, which naturally gets me a new group here. I will rename this new group, and what I will select here is a name called track changes. Now you can select any name here. It will be representing our group here. Now we need to add track changes into this tab. So I will click onto all commands and I will drag it down to the section T where we have track changes as well. So here are the track changes. I've already selected this new tab. So the moment I will click add here, these will add the track changes here. Now we have added successfully track changes into our file. So I will click OK and we can see it on the top now as a new tab here. You can add more stuff to this track changes you have included for yourself. But I'll stick to this and I will simply go and select highlight changes for all of us. Click OK. And now whatever I will write, Excel will track it for me. For example, my new Excel. And when I click on it, it shows my name, the date and the time and what changes I did from what to what. So you can see from blank to my, this is the change I have done. Similarly, I've changed here and I've changed here. And if I change anywhere else as well, it will add it there. So it is now successfully tracking not only the changes I'm making, but even if I'm deleting something, you can see here it has been tracked. So all the trackings are being done in my spreadsheet now. Very simple, straightforward. As I mentioned before, you go to the ribbons menu, add a new tab there, connect it with track changes, and then you will successfully be able to track those changes. You can accept and reject changes as well, exactly as you do it for your trackers in Microsoft Word, etc., etc. So here I can accept and reject the changes as well. So you can see I can accept or reject or accept all. It's all up to me. So from here I can also control my tracking of the changes as well and the changes. Today we are going to talk about repeat function, REPT, in Excel. It repeats a text a given number of times. When Lotus 123 was the only game in town, you could enter a backslash followed by any character and Lotus would repeat that character for you throughout a cell. We have more or less the same functionality in Excel as well, which is called repeat. So the syntax itself, as you see on the screen, is equal to REPT, and then you give a character or text that you would like to repeat. Let's say I take an example of asterisk sign, and I also provide a number of times I would like Excel to repeat this for me. Enter, and you can see I have this repeated 5 times. Let's take another example. REPT is the function. Then I would enter, for example, in this case, plus sign. And let's say I want it 10 times repeated by Excel for me. There we go. We have it repeated 10 times. So on and so forth. You can put any sort of text that you would like to enter, and Excel will repeat that character the number of times that you specify. These number of times can also be linked with a cell. For example, I would like to enter a value here. At the moment, the value is 0. So let's say I put 3. So it will repeat it 3 times. If I want to increase it to 7, it will increase it to 7 times, and so on and so forth. Now, why practically it is important to use this feature? There are certain circumstances where you can use it. I will share with you guys an example here. For example, we have some data here, and we have salary of certain employees of some teams, and we would like to see the rating or the grading of these people with respect to their salaries. At the same time, I would not like to show the salary here. So I would like to hide it, for example. So is equal to REPT is the function. I would like to give it a text, let's say asterisk, to hide, in asterisk. And then I would like to give the number which is here, 50,000. Okay, I don't want it to be repeated 50,000 times, so I will divide it by, let's say, 10,000. I will close the parentheses, and I have it 5 times. I will take it down, and now I can hide it. So salary is hidden, but I can see how much is the salary with the number of stars here. So no specific numbers are shown here, but I can see a grading here. If I want to convert this grading into ratings, very simple. I would need to take the number of stars out of this particular cell. So I can use it, for example, using len function is equal to len, which gives me the length of a cell, and I can see 5 here. So I can get a rating with the number of stars that I have. So I can convert it in a way into a situation where I can see the grading or rating of those jobs with respect to their salaries, not showing the salary itself. So fellows, this was a practical use of this particular functionality. You can use any sort of, I'll say, character here as well as you like. For example, you can put here, instead of star, you can put @ and repeat it down, and you can have @ instead of star, and so on and so forth. Now I'll leave it to you creativity, how you can efficiently use it into your Excel spreadsheets. Please do share your experiences in the comments below. Are you ready for some magical Excel shortcuts? Let's see how many of you know how to copy and paste simultaneously in Excel. Different, isn't it? Let's try it today. So I will demonstrate here 4 different ways whereby we can simultaneously copy and paste in Excel. So this is kind of a magical trick. So let's start with Control plus D, which means that we press Control plus D and we get the outcomes. So Control plus D copies and pastes downwards in one quick shortcut. So there are 2 different actually possible scenarios, and I'm going to illustrate both of them to you. So let's start with our first scenario. So I will put an A here, and now I will press Control D, and it will copy and paste actually downwards. Control D, there you go. So you see, if I press again here, Control D, it copy pastes at the same time. Now I will demonstrate the same here. Again, the function is the same, Control plus D, the keys, but I've selected multiple cells here, Control plus D, and you can see the data has been pasted. So I'll repeat here that Control plus D copies and pastes downwards in one quick press of Control and D. Now I'll move to Control plus R. It does the same thing, except it does it to the right instead of down. So in Control plus D, it was copying downwards. In Control plus R, it will copy on the right side. So let's take some sample data here. For example, this one, I press it, select empty cells and the cells that are on the left side, and I'll press Control R. And you see all the data has been copy pasted at the same time by pressing Control and R only. So by now, you know two different tricks and three different dimensions of using this Control and R and D to copy and paste at the same time. Let's move on to autofill. So this is, I'm pretty sure that most of you are pretty much aware of this. Just simply go to the corner, see this plus sign that you see on the screen, and then drag it down, and it will follow automatically downwards. So the cells that you drag down to, it will fill the data till that extent. So it's another copy and paste simultaneously. So Control plus Enter. So this is kind of a, a key that selects all and then copy paste at the same time. You don't have to do anything here. No key to be pressed here is just a drag and drop. So this is more of a mouse trick rather than the keyboard shortcut. Now let's move on to Control plus Enter. Now this is a little interesting. Control plus Enter. This is kind of the same thing, but in a different way. So we'll use it with our mouse by selecting the cells that we want to put data onto. Now we will type some data. Let me try to type type. So I tried to type type. Now I would like to paste it all in the cells that are selected now. So you can see it is still active. The cell is still active in active mode. I will simply hit Control and Enter, and it will copy paste at the same time in all these cells that you see on the screen. Control and Enter. There you go. That was quick. So this is another shortcut key, but in this way you type and then you manipulate the cells that are selected. I will repeat it for you guys so that you can see. For example, I select a little more than what I selected before. Now I will type A here, and I would like to paste it all across the cells which are selected. Remember, we have to press Control and Enter. That is it. And we get the data down till the selection of our cells. Having a live transposed copy of a table. We all know how to get a transposed copy of our data. If some of you don't, then don't worry at all. You just need to copy the data you would like to transpose, and then while pasting, look for paste options and then click on transpose. You will get a transposed version. This being a kind of a normal copy and paste operation will only create a fixed transposed version of the original table. To make a live transposed version of your data, you will need to do a bit more than just copy and paste. So let's see how we can do that. First of all, you will need to see how many rows and columns you have and then select the transposed version of those many columns and rows. For instance, here we have 2 columns and 5 rows, which means we will need 2 rows and 5 columns. Select them, and while being selected, type your function, that is equal to transpose, and then you have to select the array, which means the whole table here. Parenthesis closed, which means we have our function written properly, completely. The only thing you need to have is the magical key now, which will make your table transposed and live transposed. So remember, the magical key is Shift, Control, and Enter. So I will perform this activity by pressing Shift, Control, and Enter. You will see the magic. Shift, Control, Enter. There you go. We do get a live table transposed. You can see the categories, you can see the amounts, everything is there. Now I will bring the colors right by putting the right names here, and you will see the change in column E and F here. So yellow and blue. You see both of them have changed. I will also change the numbers, and you can see the transposed table is live, which is changing with the changes. Cool. The only thing that you see cannot be transposed in this procedure is formatting of these cells. For example, the colors themselves, the text formatting, it is not transposed and it will not be. Otherwise, your table is live now. So enjoy, guys. Don't forget to comment down and share your ideas. I look forward to hear from you. I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.